Hi everybody, Matt back with you. Welcome to York.
Ghosts are very frightening and they are spooky too. I hear one howling.
Hi everybody, Matt back with you. Well, it's finally here. Happy Halloween, and I hope you've enjoyed our month's worth of haunting stories. We've covered things like a haunted bus, we've covered a haunted hamlet, we've covered the most haunted road in the UK, Stocksbridge Bypass. All these are on the channel if you've missed them. So, what way can we keep building up to something big for Halloween? Well, today we have come to a place once described as the most haunted city in Europe. Today we are in York. So York has had roughly over 500 different sightings in 500 different places across York itself of hauntings and ghosts and ghouls. And because of that, York is very, very well covered online in terms of stories. And I thought, what can I do today that would be slightly different, that might make people interested? I had to look at mine. So I'm going to cover some locations as we go past. There'll be very quick, brief, this is what happens here. But at the moment in York, there's also an exhibition called Ghosts in the Garden. And there are 45 ghosts across York in public places. So I'm going to mix the two together. So we're going to find some of the ghosts in the garden. There are 45 altogether. We're not going to find them all today. And tell you some ghost stories as well. So it's a bit of a taster. As I say, there will be other videos online that are far more in depth than mine. Especially when York has such a reputation as a haunted hotspot. Right, I'm currently on the castle walls, city walls. Let's see what we can find. Okay, so we begin our ghost hunt in York Museum Gardens. We've already found 2 ghosts back there, so now you know what sort of thing we're looking for. And we've already found a horse, fairly straightforward. Then we found the highwayman. That highwayman is most likely going to be Dick Turpin, the famous highwayman. He was hung here in York, apparently, and he's buried here. I'm not even sure there may be a grave for him. I've actually been asked on the channel, can I cover Dick Turpin? We may well come back to that at another time. Right, let's continue searching through the gardens and see what we can find. Okay, so we've found quite a few of these ghosts in the gardens here. Time is against me, unfortunately. We're not going to find them all, and I haven't even got onto any stories yet, so let's crack on, and if we find any more of these en route, I'll show you them. They're not here for much longer. I think they're here for another week, and then there's a few nights where after dark they're going to be lit up, quite a few of them, if not all of them, so you can come and search for them at night. But yeah, I imagine they're gone in a couple of weeks' time. So bear may seem like a bit of an odd choice for this ghost tour, but apparently the 1800s, early 1800s, bears and other exotic animals were here. You could come and visit them. I presume the time that had been, you know, everybody wanted to see different parts of the world, let's just bring it to England and stare at it. Yeah, apparently sometimes they also escaped. So I think we can presume this is Guy Fawkes, not very clear close-up. Guy Fawkes, obviously you probably know, went up to blow the Houses of Parliament, but came from York, and probably, I'm not too sure now, come history, was he then executed here? Lots of people were executed here. Definitely born in York. Okay, so behind me there is York Minster, which dates back to 627, which is quite a long time ago. Probably one of the oldest places I've ever covered on this channel. Naturally, somewhere so old, there are ghosts attached to it. So the problem here, of course, is trying to get far enough back to get it and me on the camera, so you're having me instead. But our ghost story for here dates back to 1820, and there's a tour going on inside the Minster, and a small group get separated from the tour and kind of wandering aimlessly through the Minster. All of a sudden, a man dressed in a naval uniform walks up to one of the members of the group, whispers in their ear, walks off, and seems to disappear. What was interesting is that the man is the brother of the woman who is just approached. So, very bizarre. She didn't expect to see him there. What has unfortunately happened is that on that same day, that man died at sea. And the two of them, the brother and the sister, had made a pact that if either of them ever died, they would come and say whether or not there was an afterlife. The brother had died and fulfilled his part of the bargain by approaching his sister here in the church and whispering in her ear. What that answer was, we don't know. There have also been reports of a man called Dean Gale, 26-year-old, time of his death in 1702, reportedly still comes and listens to the sermons and sits in the pews. So close today, but behind me here is the Treasurer's House, now a National Trust property, but also regarded as the most haunted building in York altogether. And the hauntings here date from 1953, when there was a man working in the cellar. All of a sudden he could hear a horn from a distance. It got closer and closer, and whilst he was working in the cellar, all of a sudden through the wall came a horse and a cart, followed by a whole army of Roman soldiers, and they carried on and disappeared, but they were cut off from their legs. What they then found was that 15 centimetres below ground there was actually a Roman road, and those Romans were still walking on that road into battle. Yeah, so we can't see it any closer. Unsurprisingly, there are a number of haunted pubs across York. This one, the Snickle Way Inn, is said to be the most haunted. Now, a lot of the ghosts we cover just appear and disappear, but in the cellar of the Snickle Way Inn is said to be an evil spirit that causes mayhem. You're okay. Sorry. Cheers. It's not easy to film when there's so many people, but behind me there is Mad Alice Lane. And Mad Alice is Alice Smith, who lived here till 1825 before she murdered her husband, and she was taken away and hanged at York Castle. Now, sadly, she was called mad by the locals because of what she did, but nobody really mentions the fact that she was kind of tortured and really abused by her husband over many, many years. So it was just a matter of time, I think, before she got her revenge. It's through there, Women's Court, Mad Alice Lane, and she is said to be seen occasionally from the windows looking down into the streets. Okay, so now we're on Stonegate and we're looking for number 35, which is said to be yet another incredibly haunted building. Okay, so number 35 is the building just behind me here. It dates from the 15th century, and this particular one is rumoured to have about 14 different ghosts inside it, yet none of them became active until the 90s, because then the house was being renovated and all these ghosts suddenly came into the fore. Now, I'll tell you what they were a bit further on, but you can see just above the door there's even a Bible hanging. Was that part of getting rid of the ghosts? Certainly an exciting building. So those ghosts include a monk, a Georgian lady, and a prankster dressed all in black called Tom. I think I know him. If this street, called the Shambles, looks familiar, it's because it's said to be the inspiration for Diagon Alley in Harry Potter, and there is even a Harry Potter shop.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one really
So as you've seen, York is exceptionally busy today. Every shop has about 30 people outside it. It's impossible to move in some places, so instead I've decided let's finish the video today with Dick Turpin. So here we are. This is the grave of John Palmer, otherwise known as Richard Turpin, otherwise known as Dick Turpin, notorious highwayman and horse stealer, executed 7th of April 1739, buried here, St George's Churchyard. So there we go. Didn't expect to do Dick Turpin today, but there's nobody else here. Amazing. Okay, so before I completely run out of battery, I shall leave you here from York. Yep, those people are queuing for something. That's all I seem to have seen today. Queues and more queues. But we managed to get to some of the ghosts. It's so tricky to walk around today because of the people, you're just shuffling around. But that's my nightmare, too many people. So there we are. Hope you've enjoyed our little stories as on the way around as well. I know there are many, many, many more, so it was just a taster, and I think we will return to York eventually. But for now, happy Halloween. Thank you so much for joining me for our spooky season. There is one more still to come for the season this weekend, when Danielle and I go on a zombie hike. We will see you there. Take care, enjoy the day. It's a day for everybody who's a freak and a weirdo. Bye for now.